And we're joined now on the Pro Take by Cody Stavenhagen of The Athletic to talk about the Detroit Tigers. First of all, Cody, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. How are you?
Yeah, doing well. Thanks for having me on.
So, we'll talk about this Detroit Tigers team. It's a team that has an incredible amount of youth on the team right now, spearheaded by guys like Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson, and they've gotten off to really solid starts. What do you expect to see from guys like them the rest of the way?
Yeah, that's a terrific question, and I really think the fate of this Tigers season hinges on the performance of some young hitters. Torkelson is a guy who hit 31 home runs last year, but definitely has areas in his game he can improve in terms of hitting for average, on base percentage, his defense. I think that's kind of the question. Can he take that next step forward? In terms of Riley Green, I think it's all about health. When he's been healthy in his young career, he's already shown he can be one of the more talented young hitters in the game. He just hasn't been able to stay on the field. I could see Riley Green blossoming into an all-star caliber player this season if he's able to remain healthy. And then you have some other guys in that mix as well. Colt Keith, who's a rookie, Kerry Carpenter, who had a 21 homer season last year. These are some guys, young hitters. There's going to be some variability. It may not be completely linear development, but there's certainly some talent in this lineup.
And you mentioned Kerry Carpenter, that 21 home run season a year ago, also 278 batting average in his first real full season in the big leagues. What strides are you looking for him to take the rest of this year?
I've already been encouraged by some of Carpenter's swings. I think part of the goal was kind of to see, can he become a more well-rounded hitter? Can he use all fields? And we've seen him do that. I think he's already improved a lot in terms of being able to go the opposite way. Still has, his power really good at the top of the zone. He can go get the high ball and crush it. And defense has been a big thing for him too. Part of him being able to be an everyday player is how much can he play in the field. His defense, I don't know that he'll ever be a plus defender, but it's certainly gone from a liability to maybe close to league average. He can hold his own in the corner outfield spots. So, those are some things to look for. Also, can he hit left-handed pitching? He's not getting a ton of at-bats against lefties right now. He's struggled in the small sample we've seen in his pro career. He'll have to take advantage of some of the few opportunities he does get to see if he can get more at-bats against lefties.
And another one of those young guys you talked about was Colt Keith, who signed that big deal in this past offseason. What do you think we're going to see from Keith in his rookie season?
Yeah, again, I always want to be careful setting expectations for young players because you just never know. I've seen guys like we've talked about Torkelson, Green, really talented, highly ranked prospects who came up and struggled a little bit early in their pro career. I think we're already seeing Colt go through some adjustments at the plate. He's talked about kind of shortening the swing a little bit and just trying to get his timing down. Now, the good news, he's really held his own at second base. He has a pretty advanced plate approach. He doesn't seem overwhelmed just talking to him, being around him. If you didn't know any better, you wouldn't think he was a rookie. He's going to have to kind of get up to speed, get some better feel in the batter's box. But this is a guy who can be a 15 to 20 homer guy. He's got a line drive swing, so he should be able to hit for decent average. And he's already looking like a better defender at second base than a lot of people gave him credit for.
We've talked a lot about the youth on this team, but a couple of the guys that were brought in this offseason, players like Gio Urshela and Mark Canha, brought in some veteran presence to this team. And how important do you think guys like that are going to be for this team, which has so many rookies on it?
Yeah, but I mean, we've already seen it become important. Canha and Urshela both have come through with some big hits in key situations. Obviously, you can't really quantify how much veteran presence matters, but you have to think it helps to have a couple guys who've been through some of these battles in the clubhouse with all the young players. Urshela is going to probably get the lion's share of at-bats at third base. Canha is going to be in the lineup most days, hitting in the middle of the order. He's a reliable on-base guy. That's something this lineup definitely needs. I think the performance is probably a little more projectable with proven players like that. And so that matters. Like I said, I think the fate of this team will come down to what it can get from the young hitters, but just a little more stability with the Urchelas and the Canhas can make you feel a little bit better about this lineup.
Here with Cody Stavenhagen on the Pro Take. So we've talked a lot about offense. in this conversation, but I want to ask you about this Tigers rotation and what are some of the big, or who I should say, are some of the big guys that you're expecting to get contributions this season from in this rotation?
Yeah, I mean, right now the Tigers feel really good about their rotation. The guy that was left off the roster, Matt Manning, he's their sixth starter. He got called up for a doubleheader through 5 2/3 hitless innings against the New York Mets. So there's a little bit of a hint at how much depth might be in this rotation. At the top, Tarek Skubal, frequently mentioned as a possible kind of dark horse AL Cy Young candidate. I think that's totally legit. He has some of the nastiest stuff I've seen. Kenta Maeda, Jack Flaherty. Might is off to a little bit of a slow start, but a proven guy. Jack Flaherty, a little bit of a reclamation project. He looked really good all spring. We'll see if he can continue to take that into the regular season. I think maybe the X factor is Casey Mize, the former #1 overall pick. He's missed a lot of time. This is his first year healthy back from Tommy John surgery. We've seen some good things, much improved fastball, better velocity, a nasty splitter that got him drafted #1 overall. He kind of lost his feel for that pitch over the past couple years. So far this year, we're seeing the splitter come back. If Mize can blossom into a legitimate mid-rotation type starter, that would go a long way for this pitching staff.
And you sort of touched on Casey Mize a little bit, and I'll ask you a bit further. What's the biggest thing that you've seen from Casey Mize coming off or coming back off of that Tommy John surgery?
Yeah, I mentioned it, but really the biggest difference has been his fastball. It almost looks like a different pitch than it was earlier in his career. He's throwing it harder. He's getting more spin, a much improved induced vertical break. So it's a pitch he can use at the top of the zone to deceive hitters with. Mize coming up wasn't really, he's known for some fastball command, but I don't think anyone would have pegged Casey Mize to be a 55-60% fastball type of guy. And right now it looks like that might be the pitcher he's become. Even in his early season outings, he said, I probably could have used the fastball even more. So far it has been his best pitch. And if he's able to pitch off the fastball, in theory, that should only set him up for more success with the splitter and the slider.
You also mentioned Tarek Skubal a little bit earlier, 1-0 record this season in the two starts that he's had. How have you seen from him? How has he really solidified his role in this rotation?
Yeah, I mean, again, health has a lot to do with it. Another guy who's missed a lot of time, but he came back from flexor tendon surgery last July and led the major leagues in pitching WAR, according to Fangraph's version of WAR, from I think July 2nd on. That's how good Tarek Skubal was. So just being on the mound, being healthy, and kind of finally getting a chance to let his stuff shine is what's really helped. And I think over the past couple years, we've just seen him develop into more of a complete pitcher. Early on in his career, he could struggle with elevated pitch counts, occasional lapses in command. He's really just smoothed out his game. He's aggressive. He can go attack hitters. He has put away stuff. I think his changeup has probably been what's really put him over the top. It's become a nasty changeup that he can throw in the zone, but he can also get swings and misses with it. Complements his slider really well. That's kind of the pitch that's put Skubal over the top right now.
Want to transition to talk about the Detroit bullpen and in his 6 appearances this season across 5 1/3 innings. Jason Foley has not allowed an earned run and has 7 strikeouts in those 5 1/3 innings. So, what changes to his game could you identify and sort of point to as things that have helped lead to the success that he's had early on this season?
Well, yeah, Foley's been pretty nasty for a while. He had a good year last year. Power turbo sinker type of guy, elite ground ball rate. That's kind of his calling card. What may help him take another step is his ability to get left-handed hitters out. He's a right-handed hitter. I think lefties had a OPS of above 800 against him last season. He's altered his arsenal, his pitch mix a little bit to try to get lefty batters out. So some more changeups, some four-seam fastballs atop the zone, trying to become a little bit more unpredictable because the sinker maybe doesn't necessarily play as well against lefties as it does righties. So far, he's handled left-handed batters well. If he can continue to do that, he's going to continue to get late inning, maybe even ninth inning type appearances. Foley does a lot of things really well. And again, for an elite ground ball type guy. We're seeing he can be a legitimate strikeout pitcher too, because this stuff is so wicked.
And finally, to sort of put the button on the bullpen, is there any one guy that you point to in this bullpen and think this is a guy who's going to make a big jump this year?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think Alex Lang got the majority of saves last year. His command can be a little bit unpredictable. He's somewhat of an X factor. Is he a closer, or is he a guy you just hope can get in the strike zone? I think maybe the biggest key for this bullpen might be Shelby Miller. It's not really about taking a jump. He had a sub 2 ERA last year for the Dodgers, came over to the Tigers as a free agent. This is a guy who has really reshaped his career, was close to being out of baseball. Former all-star caliber starter. He's come back as a reliever. He added a splitter last year with the Dodgers. He's able to perform well against right-handed and left-handed batters. He can go multiple innings. So he's kind of a versatile weapon in the bullpen. AJ Hinch gets really creative in his bullpen usage. I think if Miller can continue to perform at a high level, it makes the entire bullpen a whole lot better.
All right, Cody Stavenhagen of The Athletic. Thank you for taking the time to join us on the Pro Take today.
Absolutely. Thank you.